Live now. Namashreshtam manamapi sachiputram atra swarupam nupamatasya rajam buruparim maturam gostavidam radhakundam girivaram maho radhika madhvasam prapto yasya paritak ripaya shri gurum tam natosmi. So we have finished this one, haven't we? But today is a special day. Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Hare Krishna. So we finished, just to recap from where we are with Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's finished chapter 3 of Antya-lila, the glories of Srila Haridas Thakur. So we will be starting on another volume, Antya-lila volume 2. But we can talk a little about today's special day, which is known as Vasanta Panchami. Vasant Panchami, which is the 5th day of the waxing lunar cycle. And it is also the appearance day of multiple devotees. And the disappearance day also of at least one devotee, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So Vasant Panchami is considered kind of the first day of spring in India. The first day of the new kind of season. Thanks, Prabhu. So it is the day when, this day is famous for various reasons. In India, most people most Hindus in the know go, today is Saraswati Puja. They worship goddess Saraswati. They go to Saraswati temples. They'll do some religious rites, maybe some fasting or special types of worship, particular rituals for goddess Saraswati. But it's a good day to start something intellectually related or some kind of academic discipline or new intellectual, cerebral practice. It's a good day for that. It's considered an auspicious day because it's the start of a new phase, Vasant, start of spring. And so Vasant Panchami is Saraswati Puja, but it's also when Krishna has his Rasa-lila, one Rasa-lila event with the gopis. There's other days, like Purnim days, but this is a Panchami day. And it's the appearance day of several. So for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, it's of particular significance because, first of all, it's Krishna's Rasa-lila day. And secondly, as mentioned, it is the appearance day, or Avirbhav, of multiple Vaishnavas. Vishnupriya, Mahaprabhu's wife, second wife. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who's the guru of Gadadhar Pandit Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunandan Thakur. And it's the disappearance day of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is a more modern acharya in the Parampara lineage from Mahaprabhu. He is 18th century perhaps, 1700s.
The last one you mentioned in the appearance.
Yeah, Raghunandan. Raghunandan is one of the Srikhand devotees from Srikhand. We were mentioning them the other week. There's a few devotees from this place called Khanda or Srikhanda. Mm-hmm. And most of them they seem to be Vaidyas or Ayurvedic doctors. Mm-hmm. And there's a group of them that were devotees living there. So they're known as the Srikhanda Vaishnavas, Srikhanda Bhaktas. And they were great devotees of Mahaprabhu, and they would meet with the other Bengali devotees from Navadvip and from Kalna, etc. And they would travel to Jagannath Puri to meet with Mahaprabhu. So Raghunandan was the son of one Mukunda Sarkara, I believe. And Mukunda Sarkara was the older brother of Narahari Sarkara, who was the guru of Lochan Das Thakur, who wrote Sri Chaitanya Mangal, and whose appearance day, or was it disappearance day, was recently. So we were talking a little bit about Lochan Das Thakur. Was it disappearance, was it? So, Lochan Das Thakur's guru's nephew is Raghunandan. Narahari Sarkar's nephew. Narahari is mentioned in the evening song, Narahari Adikori Chamara Dulaya. Because in the Aarti of Mahaprabhu that song describes, Narahari is envisioned as using the chamara to worship Mahaprabhu. Narahari Adikori Chamara Dulaya. And there's a Mukunda also in the song, but that is not the Mukunda of Raghunandan's father, Raghunandan Thakur. He was a great devotee. I mean, I'm sure he has pastimes of his own, but he's known as one of the Srikant devotees and related to Narahari Sarkar, my nephew. So his father's Mukunda, but a different Mukunda than than Mukunda Datta mentioned in the Arti song, Gora Arti. So Raghunandan is one of the Srikant devotees. Then, of course, we know who Vishnu Priya is, second wife of Mahaprabhu. And then Pundarik Vidyanidhi is in Krishna-lila, he's Radharani's father, whose name is Brishabhanu, King Brishabhanu Raj. And, of course, then we know Raghunath Das Goswami. So all of them have their appearance days today. So it's kind of like a glut of auspiciousness. So, I mean, where to start? There's so much to say about each of these personalities because they're all luminaries in their own right. Pundarik Vidyanidhi was the guru of Gadadhar Pandit Goswami, which makes sense if Gadadhar Pandit Goswami is Radharani in Krishna-lila, Radharani in Chaitanya-lila, or Radharani in Krishna-lila. Radharani appearing as Gadadhar in Chaitanya-lila. And so his father is Vrishabhanu, Radharani's father. His guru, is Vrishabhanu, Radharani's father. There's a pastime to that, of course. Today is Pundarik Vidyanidhi's appearance day, so there's several key pastimes, sweet historical events that are generally narrated on this day. And
The guru of Gadadhar Pandit.
Yeah.
This devotee how was he connected, related to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
He was from a place called Chattogram, which is nowadays in Bangladesh called Chittagong. It's a district, Chattogram. And he was not, you could say, related by bloodline, but what happens when the Lord descends is that before the Lord descends, and during, and sometimes after, all his associates descend as well. Mm-hmm. So they don't have to be, you could say, physically related by blood, or they don't have to have grown up with the Lord. They will meet and have pastimes, but they will also automatically be infused with Krishna consciousness because they're an eternal parishad or associate of the Lord. So, and that makes for interesting diversity in the pastimes, because their spirit, their contribution, their bhakti can flourish separately, and then when they meet Mahaprabhu, there's a blending of that. Like consider Ramananda Rai meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Ramananda Samvad. So Ramananda Rai is one of the Shakis, right? Vishaka Shaki. And so he's already infused with Prema Bhakti. And when he meets Mahaprabhu, there's a wonderful exchange that they have over the course of so long. So it's the same with Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He's from a distant place, relatively distant, from Navadvip, not just right next door, or he wasn't living in Navadvip. So he's from Chattagram or Chittagong. Some people say Gadadhar Pandit was also from there, but migrated as a young boy to Navadvip. And there's other places they say he's from a different place. Anyway, it's beside the point. But Pundarik Vidyanidhi was a man of style, like a fashionista, and kind of aristocratic, very urbane and wealthy. And he had a holiday home in Navadvip. So he would travel sometimes from his permanent home in Chattagram to the Ganga. Some people would have their holiday homes on the Ganga. So he would travel there. And Mukunda Datta, who is the Mukunda featured in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song, Sanjay Mukunda Datta Basu Go Shadi Gaya. They're the singers in the song. And he is also from Chattagram, so he knows Pundarik Vidyanidhi as a great devotee. So he says to Gadadhar Pandit, Mukunda, Gadadhar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Nimai Pandit at the time, they're all about the same age. They would have been maybe teenagers at the time. So he says to Gadadhar Pandit, he says, they're good friends, they're school friends. He says, look, I know from my hometown this fellow called Pundarik. He's a great devotee, and he's at his holiday home on the Ganga now. Pundarik Vidyanidhi.
Who said this to you?
Mukunda Datta. So he's school friends with Gadadhar Pandit. And because Gadadhar Pandit was naturally Krishna conscious, it's like, yeah, for sure, I'd love to go meet an older devotee. He was could have been their parents' age. So they go down and they visit him in his holiday home. And he's dressed very opulently, like in the finest of expensive silks. And he's on this ornate bedstead with fancy cushions and curtains. And he's anointed with all sorts of very expensive essential oils and pastes. And his long curly hair is oiled with expensive, high-quality oil. And he's got these two attendants, and they're fanning him with peacock fans. And then to cap it all off, he's smoking. He's got this something that he's smoking, like in a pipe, some expensive tobacco. So he's enjoying life in his holiday home. And Mukunda is taking Gadadhar there on the pretext of meeting a pure devotee. And Gadadhar sees him and he's like, this guy, he's not a pure devotee. This guy's not a devotee. Devotees are not attached to material opulence and wealth and etc., indulging in smoking. And so Mukunda could pick up on his friend's thought process. And so he thought to do something in order to enlighten him about Pundarik Vidyanidhi's true position. So he recited this verse from the Bhagavatam. Aho bakiyam stana kalakutam jigam saya payayad apyasadvi lebhe gatim datri uchitam tatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam brajema. And when he recited this verse, it triggered ecstatic symptoms in Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And the verse describes, the verse says, how could I not give myself to someone as merciful as Krishna, who, even after being approached by Putana, who tried to poison him by smearing poison on her breasts and feeding him her poison to her poisoned breasts, that still he gave her the role of his nanny, his nurse in Goloka Vrindavan. So even someone who approaches Krishna with a desire to kill him is given a position of intimate service. So how, it's like inconceivable that how someone can be so benevolent and so merciful. How can I not worship and adore someone with such a pristine heart, quality of heart? Not just forgiveness, but then installing the person as their own nurse who tried to kill them, tried to violate the trust, right? The mother, the person who breastfeeds the child is in a position of great trust. That trust, the violation of that motherly trust, is one of the greatest violations possible in existence. And yet even of the most egregious of violations, Krishna is forgiving that and giving her a position in the eternal spiritual realm. A trusted position. And so Mukunda, he recites this verse. How could I not love, adore this Krishna who behaves in this way? And Pundarik Vidyanidhi went into a kind of like a fit on his bed, and he was tearing at his hair, and his pipe of tobacco was on the ground, and he kind of fell off the bed. He was spasming in ecstatic ecstasy. Gadadhar Pandit realizes, I see. The fancy clothes, the suave, urbane demeanor, the expensive, luxurious, voluptuous tastes, that was all just a front. Beneath, there's a great devotee. And he realized, I see, I've committed a mistake by judging him in my mind. I've committed a mental aparad. And so anyway, thinking like this, Gadadhar Pandit, he approaches Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimai Pandit, his friend. And actually this may be a little, they may be a little older, so maybe late teens. Anyway, doesn't matter too much. So he approaches Nimai Pandit. Something tells me that Nimai Pandit has returned from Gaya at this time, where he takes initiation from Ishwarapuri. It's not crucial to the history. He approaches Gauranga Mahaprabhu and says, I've committed this offense. What is the rectification? I'm thinking that I will take initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And Mahaprabhu says, yes, that's a good idea. You do that.
As a compensation for the offense? In this way?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he takes initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi and becomes his most famous disciple. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, one day he's another pastime is that one day he's in Jagannath Puri. He visits Jagannath Puri. Gadadhar Pandit goes to live in Jagannath Puri with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also, at one stage, he forgets his mantra and asks Mahaprabhu to give him another mantra. And Mahaprabhu says, no, you should wait for Pundarik Vidyanidhi to come and give you that same mantra. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi visits Jagannath Puri, and he sees that the temple administration or the temple priests are using cloth that's very new, but it hasn't had the starch that's used to treat the cloth washed from it, which is normal. When you use the cloth, you wash the starch out first. Yeah. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi tried to reform the practice and had a dream where Jagannath and Balaram came and they were slapping his cheeks, saying, Pundarik, who do you think you are? And they slapping his cheeks. And so he woke up, and his cheeks were all red, bruised, and swollen, as if someone had indeed actually been physically slapping his cheeks. He had the physical symptoms of being slapped around the cheeks. And of course that is used to illustrate how the processes and practices of the Jagannath temple are not, if they're satisfying to Jagannath is allowing them, then they shouldn't really be interfered with, even by someone of the caliber of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He says, Jagannath is like saying, I like the devotion of my priests. This is the tradition. I like the starch in the cloth. Don't go taking it out. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi's appearance day is today. One day Mahaprabhu was also saying, perhaps it was before Pundarik's famous visit to Navadvip, where the incident occurs with Gadadhar Pandit. But Mahaprabhu was saying, "Oh, Pundarik, my father, Pundarik." No one really knew what he was talking about. He was referring to Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So he's as like a father type figure in Gauranga Lila. Vidyanidhi is very knowledgeable as well. So also today, we'll move on. So today, Jai Pundarik Vidyanidhi Ki Jai, and today is also Vishnu Priya Devi. So Vishnu Priya, of course, is Mahaprabhu's second wife, when Mahaprabhu was first married to Lakshmi Priya, and when he went on his kind of tour of Bengal as a young scholar, she died. She was bitten by a snake, died. So Mahaprabhu married again to Vishnu Priya. She was very devoted to Mahaprabhu. And then, of course, at age 24, just before his 24th birthday, Mahaprabhu leaves to take sannyas. And
She was still a teenager?
I don't know exactly how old she was. Maybe. Generally, there was a gap of a few years between the male and the female in marriages in those days. But I don't know how many years. Maybe she's still 16. I'd imagine probably still a teenager. I don't know exactly. But she then lives a very renounced life, the life of an ascetic, pretty much never leaving the home and living a very austere life. There's even one account that she would chant all day, every day, and that every time she would chant a Mahamantra, 32 syllables, she would pick a grain of rice up from a stack of rice and put it in another pile. So, after chanting all day, there would be a small mound of rice, and that's what she would eat for the day. She would cook that and eat that. In Navadvip, one of the most famous deities, if not the most famous deity, is Dameshwara Mahaprabhu, which is Vishnu Priya's deity, and it's always visited as a part of the Navadvip parikram. It's one of the chief places that is visited. I mean, they're all chief places, but particularly Dameshwara Mahaprabhu. It is considered the original deity of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, because it was made, well, I say it was made, actually I believe it was one of deities that are known as, I don't know the Sanskrit term, but self-manifest. So they appeared. Normally what happens with a deity is that it gets commissioned, and someone that is a craftsperson that makes deities, they carve the deity. And deities can be made traditionally out of various substances, various materials, I should say. Earth, wood, metal, earth, wood, metal, and you get metal deities, brass deities, etc. I think for yeah. Yeah, they had technology for smelting metals, and I mean the cartels they used, they were made in molds, etc. Anyway, for something tells me there's 5 traditional materials that deities are made from: wood, metal, stone, wood, metal, clay, and something else. Maybe one's mind. I think number 5 is a bit of a weird one. It's not like it may not be a physical substance. It could be an image in one's mind. Although I'm not certain of that. But anyway, so normally, at least for 4 of those, you would get someone that knows how to make deities, and they would make a deity according to your specifications and desires. But there are some deities, and I believe 3 or 4, that are self-manifest. They appeared themselves to fulfill the desire of the devotee. And this is one of them.
What about
Vishnu Priya's Dameshwar Mahaprabhu.
They said that she first charged someone to do it. It wasn't good enough for her. She sent them back to do it again and once again. At the 3rd time, it was the right time.
Yeah, it happened 3 times, and then the 3rd time she drew her veil, which meant like it looked like Mahaprabhu.
She took
She put her sari over her head.
on her head to show that that was the one.
It was.
So yeah.
So it's not a self-manifest deity? I thought it was. We'll have to check up on that.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that this version is correct.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not certain that it is a self-manifest deity, so I'm just speaking from memory. Maybe if you want to look it up, can you look it up? Someone has a phone?
Yeah. What should I do?
Just type in like Dameshwar Mahaprabhu self-manifest. But either way, maybe if he's not self-manifest, the point of confusion on my part is that he was the original deity of Mahaprabhu, which I'm pretty sure is the case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm mistaken on that. But if he's not self-manifest, then the ones that are definitely self-manifest are the Gaura Nityananda of Hridaya Chaitanya. And something tells me the Gaura Gadadhara Champahati too. So anyway, Dameshwar Mahaprabhu, deity of Vishnu Priya. So after Mahaprabhu leaves for sannyas, she lives a very austere life. They have Sachimata has the padukas, the shoes of Mahaprabhu. And then the deity is, well, either self-manifest or seems maybe constructed in the traditional way. But now known as Dameshwar Mahaprabhu, and worshipped in Navadvip since the time of Mahaprabhu. Maybe what I'm getting mixed up on is that deities that were actually worshipped at the time of Mahaprabhu, while Mahaprabhu was still physically on the planet. And maybe there's only a few deities that were of that qualify for that. And Dameshwara Mahaprabhu is one of those that were actually worshipped while Mahaprabhu was still living. Maybe it is the only one. Anyway, there's certain unique aspects to that deity. So that was Vishnu Priya Devi's deity. So she is also born on the Gaura Panchami. Today's Vasant Panchami. There's Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur is born on Panchami, but on the Krishna Panchami, which means the moon is waning. And Vishnu Priya Devi born on the Gaura Panchami, which means the moon is waxing. But in one of the calendars of the Gaudiya Math, it was published that Vishnupriya was born on the waning moon and Saraswati Thakur on the waxing. But Guru Maharaj spotted this mistake. He said, no, how is it possible that the Gaura Shakti, Vishnupriya, can be born during the Krishna Paksha, or the phase of the waning moon? Whereas Saraswati Thakur being born during the phase of the waxing moon, that doesn't make sense. It must be the opposite. So he pointed this out, that it's incongruous with the astronomical signification of the Gaura Paksha phase of the moon and the Krishna Paksha phase. And it was found that, yes, indeed, it was a mistake that Vishnupriya is not born on the 5th day of a waning moon, but on the 5th day of a waxing moon. So what was the conclusion? Okay. Yeah, we check it. I mean, it's very likely that I'm getting mixed up. There was one of the deities that was worshipped while Mahaprabhu was physically here. But I'd like to see, because something tells me that. But maybe it wasn't self-manifest. There are some that are self-manifest. We could look those up as well at the same time.
Sure.
I'm not sure of the sources, the pages that speak about this topic.
No worries. No worries. We'll find it. We'll find it. So Jai Vishnupriya Devi Ki Jai. And also we have, today is the appearance day of Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami, of course, is famous as one of the Sad Goswamis of Vrindavan. And honored as what is known as the Prayojan Tattva Acharya, or the Acharya that represents the goal of Bhakti. Prayojan means goal. So he represents the accomplishment of the goal. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he was born to very wealthy parents. They were kind of landowners, administrators, in charge of collecting tax revenue for the government. Extremely wealthy themselves. Govardhan and someone, Majumdara. And because of their high wealth, Raghunath Das Goswami grew up in luxury. But he was not so interested in the material lifestyle, the luxuries that were on offer as a result of his family wealth. And he had heard of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, probably by his guru, his family guru, whose name was Yadunandana Acharya. And his place of birth was Saptagram. They were living in Saptagram. So the family guru, Yadunandana Acharya, was a disciple of, I believe, Advaita Acharya. So through that connection, the family would know about Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And also his father and his brother were philanthropists, in that they would give a lot of wealth to the brahmanas of the whole area. In fact, it's said that all of the brahmanas of that area were supported financially by these two brothers. One of them being Raghunath Das Goswami's father, the other one his uncle. So they were well known and famous, including Jagannath Mishra, Mahaprabhu's father. He was also a patron of their of their generosity. So Raghunath Das Goswami, as a young boy, he had heard of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Now, when Mahaprabhu has taken sannyas, and he's wandering in this part of Bengal called Radha Desh for 3 days, and then they take him to the house of Advaita Acharya in Shantipur, and he stays there for a few days. Well, Raghunath Das Goswami comes from Saptagram and meets Mahaprabhu there at Shantipur. And that is the first meeting. And then, from then on, he cannot get Mahaprabhu out of his head. He's always thinking of a time when he can leave home and join Mahaprabhu, even though he's quite young at this time. And then when Mahaprabhu goes on his first attempt to go to Vrindavan, he comes back after meeting Rupa and Sanatan and Ram Kelly. And he again goes through Shantipur, the house of Advaita Acharya. Then Raghunath Das Goswami again meets him there and begs him, please, rescue me. He's desperate this time, rescue me. I don't want to be in this materialistic environment. Even though his family was very pious, we could say. They were religious, pious. But still, it was an environment of great materialistic opulence. And they wanted for him, they didn't want for him a life of renunciation. They wanted for him a life that they were living, a type of a very wealthy, comfortable family life. But he wasn't interested in that. So he begs Mahaprabhu, please save me, rescue me from this. And Mahaprabhu advises him that don't rush things. He says, don't be a monkey renunciate, a markata vairagi. Be a real renunciate internally. The markata vairagi, like a monkey, right, living in the trees, eating the fruits, not wearing any clothes, not living in an opulent house. Oh, that's very renounced. But yes, also they're copulating everywhere in public and eating it, fighting like we say, cats and dogs, but like monkeys. You ever seen monkeys fight? It's not a pretty sight. They all fight. They've got this quite a brutal hierarchy in their troops. Monkey tribe is a troop, right? And the way they fight and the way the different troops fight and the way they they'll breed in public in front of everyone and crap everywhere, etc. So although by one measure we could say, yes, they're eating fruits and living in the trees and not wearing any clothes, well, they're vairagis, but yeah, they're monkey vairagis because they're not in control of their sensual or animalistic, instinctual natures. They may externally be renounced, but internally they're not. They're not in control of their lower natures. So Mahaprabhu says, don't. And another lesson in this is that Mahaprabhu says, don't try and rush it. Don't try and rush for external, form-based type of renunciation. Worship me, think of me internally. Internally you can think of Krishna. He says think of Krishna. Internally. But externally just go about your duties as you would be expected to by someone at your age and in station of life. So this is Mahaprabhu's advice to Raghunath Das Goswami. Don't be a markata vairagi. And it's good advice because we see so many people falling into problems when they try and accept too much renunciation into their lives, for whatever reason. It may be that because renunciation is an attractive quality, particularly in a spiritual organization, renunciation can bring someone respect and adoration. Or particularly, they can dress in certain clothes or take sannyas or whatever, and suddenly their status in this little organization is elevated, right? So Mahaprabhu says, be careful of that. Don't go rushing in for all that sort of thing. This marketa vairaga, where you're not actually qualified for it. You're doing it for other reasons. Internally, you're not ready. So make sure your external and your internal levels, make sure they match. So this is Mahaprabhu saying, internally you can think of Krishna, worship Krishna, but externally, carry on. And then he says, when the time comes, when the time is right, then you will be released from your family environment, which you see as family bondage, which Raghunath Das Goswami saw as bondage. And this happens eventually. And it happens due to the agency of Nityananda Prabhu, who is traveling from Puri to Navadvip to preach, to begin preaching Mahaprabhu's message. And he has his Gopa associates with him. And he stops at Panihati, it's nearby to where Raghunath Das Goswami is living with his family. And Raghunath Das Goswami comes to meet him and again begs him to be released, begs him for his mercy, and he says, well, you feed all me and my associates and all the brahmanas. So Raghunath Das Goswami uses his family wealth, some of it, to organize a massive feast of yogurt and rice and bananas, etc. And feeds hundreds of people, not only Nityananda Prabhu and his associates, but it becomes a big public festival known as the Panihati Festival, or the Chidadahi Festival. Chidadahi means chipped rice, and Panihati is the place where it was. And sometimes the mutt used to go there. Other people go there, sometimes on the occasion of this festival. Because it's
celebrated now, you mean?
Yeah. And so after performing that service, and this is another instant we were reading in a couple of chapters ago, the start of Antya-lila, about Mahaprabhu's different types of manifestation. One of them was Avirbhav, where he would appear in spirit. And this was one such event. Jai Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Where Nityananda Prabhu was physically present there, but Mahaprabhu also appeared in his Avirbhav capacity at the Panihati festival. And at the conclusion of this very successful festival, where Nityananda Prabhu and his associates were greatly satisfied with the service of Raghunath Das Goswami, he placed his feet upon Raghunath's head. And that was it. Raghunath Das Goswami is liberated. He sneaks away. It's not immediately like he ran away with Nityananda Prabhu or something. But that was the beginning of the end of his family bondage. He manages to escape. He tries to escape a few times, but because of that, his parents enhance the security around him. So he has 24-hour security. So one day what happens is that he manages to leave the compound of his home with his guru, with the family guru, Yadunandanacharya, who's also his guru. He takes Diksha initiation. And they're going to visit a priest who is going to visit him about some duties that he was supposed to perform. And Raghunath says to his guru, I'll visit him. It's early in the morning or something, and I'll visit him. You can go home. And so they were able to leave the compound because they saw him leaving with the family guru, so they thought, okay, he's fine. So the family guru gets sent back, and Raghunath sees it. This is my chance to escape. And he leaves immediately. He doesn't go by the main roads. He's going to Puri, but he doesn't go by the main paths. He goes by the back roads and cross country, walking really fast. And initially he doesn't go in that straight direction, so he goes in not in an indirect direction, because they would know that he's going to be going straight to Puri, Jagannath Puri, to see Mahaprabhu. So in order to throw them off the scent, he goes in a different direction, slightly different, across country. Walking. He says it's just non-stop. He does something like 30 miles on the first day.
Wow.
So 30 miles kind of cross country on back roads is a long way. About 50 kilometers. And so then, and then he's not really even eating. He's just walking and finding a place to minimal sleeping. He's sleeping in, like, after a night or two, he sleeps in a cow barn, and the cow herder gives him some milk, and he keeps on walking. And after a few days, he reaches Jagannath Puri and the shelter of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu puts him Mahaprabhu is very happy to see him, invites him in, introduces him to all the devotees, and puts him under the tutelage of Swarup Damodar Goswami. And then, so I'll just summarize things here because we have to finish soon. So, and then after a little while, Raghunath says, like, well, I came to see you and you've put me under the tutelage of Swarup Damodar, but what do you have to instruct me? What do you have to say to me? And Mahaprabhu says, well, gives him some instructions. Says, always chant the holy name of the Lord. Do not dress in opulent clothing. Do not eat opulent food. Give honor to others. Gives him some basic instructions. Yeah. Don't indulge in gossip, etc. Don't eat fine food, dress in clothes, chant the holy name of the Lord. And then Mahaprabhu gives him a Govardhan Shila, his own Govardhan Shila that he's worshipping, along with some paraphernalia for its worship. And instructs him specifically on how to worship it. With water, worship the Govardhan Shila with water. So he gives him this gift from his own hand, which is very, very special. It can't be, the importance of it cannot be overstated. Personal gifts from Mahaprabhu, very special. So he gives him the Govardhan Shila, and some instructions on how to worship it, including to be worshipped with tulsi manjaris, with something like 8 tulsi manjaris with 2 leaves on each manjari, etc. And Raghunath Das Goswami displays immense renunciation. So at first, and this renunciation goes progressively deeper and deeper as he is in Puri. At first he's eating with Mahaprabhu and his associates when they take prasad. And then he goes to beg by the gate of the Jagannath temple. And then every time he does it for a while, he's dissatisfied for various reasons with it. Then he goes to the charity stall that gives out food, gives out prasad. And then he doesn't even do that. He's eating from the pile of prasad that's been discarded, chucked into almost like the compost heap, and he's washing that and eating it. And Mahaprabhu comes and he goes, where are you keeping this? I want to taste it. And he eats some of this rice that previously was had mold, was being washed by Raghunath Das Goswami and eaten. Mahaprabhu says, I want to taste this. So Raghunath Das Goswami lives in Jagannath Puri for some 16 or 18 years. A life of extreme renunciation, worshipping the Govardhan Shila given to him by Mahaprabhu. And then he, when Mahaprabhu passes away, he leaves for Vrindavan. He's distraught, he's desolate. He leaves for Vrindavan and he's contemplating suicide. But he meets Rupa and Sanatan, they give him new life. He sees that they are carrying Mahaprabhu's conception, and they give him, they revitalize him. And then when they pass away again, he feels that all of the all of the transcendental items of Vrindavan have become distasteful in nature because they have passed away. Such as, he says that he sees like Govardhan Hill is like a serpent coming to swallow me, and Radhakund is like the jaws of a tiger coming to devour me. Because without the association of the devotees, then even the items that were once that are spiritual are considered distasteful. The import being that it is the higher Vaishnavas that are giving life to everything connected with Krishna consciousness and its paraphernalia. Even the places of Krishna's pastimes. Raghunath Das Goswami sees them as not just lifeless, but almost as an dangerous, like unpleasant, outside of the context, without the involvement of Rupa and Sanatan. But in Vrindavan, he continues to live his life of extreme renunciation. He is chanting all day and barely sleeps and survives physically on a cup of buttermilk per day.
So by his own, no association at all?
No, he has association of the devotees in Vrindavan. He is one of the 6 Goswamis. So he becomes recognized as one of the 7 Goswamis.
I'm so sorry.
And and then in Vrindavan he establishes a temple which is the Radha Gopinath Mandir. So his deities are Radha Gopinath. And as mentioned, is the Prayojan Tatvaracharya. And there are many other things to be said about Raghunath Das Goswami, but we have to kind of finish now.
Just his name, please. Raghunath.
Raghunath is a name for Lord Ramachandra. Raghu, Nata. Nata means Lord, and Raghu is a dynasty.
Dynasty?
Yeah, it's a family line, a dynasty. So Raghunatha means like the king or the lord of the Raghu dynasty. But it's a name for Lord Ram. It's a common name given to devotees, I guess.
So Raghunatha Bhatta, Raghunatha Dasa.
Yeah, it's the same name.
Bhatta and
Raghunath, the same name. Yeah.
but the Bhatta, what?
Bhatta is just a family name. Bhatta, as in Bhattacharya.
Okay.
Guru Maharaj was also Bhattacharya. Raghunath Bhatt. Yeah, so there were actually 3 Raghunaths, and Mahaprabhu mentions this when Raghunath Das Goswami goes to... Oh no, maybe when Raghunath Bhatta visits Jagannath Puri. He goes, now we have 3 Raghunaths in our group. Raghunath Bhatta, Raghunath Das, and there's another less known Raghunath. So I'm sure I've missed out some things I have regarding Raghunath Das Goswami, because there's a lot to be said as well. There's a nice verse. There's a Vilapa Kushmanjali is one of Raghunath Das Goswami's works, as well as Mana Shiksha, which means instructions for the mind. And in Vilapa Kushmanjali, there's a part of a verse goes, Das Shakyayate mama namostu namostu nityam dasyayate mama rasostu satyam. He's saying, I don't even desire friendship, Shakya rasa, but give me a position in dasya. That's a safe position that I like. And that's the Prayojan Tatvaracharya. So that verse, it's part of a longer stotra. So that part of the verse is used to talk about how even the Prayojan Tatvaracharya, who represents the highest goal of spiritual attainment, he is expressing himself as give me the dasya ras. So it's like a protective position against wanting to imitate or impose oneself, insert oneself into higher domains of spiritual rasa prematurely. Saying even the Prayojan Tatvaracharya, who represents the very pinnacle of achievement, is saying, give me dasya rasa, give me servitor, the mallow, the taste, the relationship that's based on service. Raghunath Das Goswami ki jai, Vishnupriya Devi ki jai, Raghunandan Das Thakur ki jai, Pundarik Vidyanidhi Prabhu ki jai, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Prabhu ki jai, and the other devotees that are born on this day ki jai. Okay, who's singing?
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Vala Govinda Ram Shrimad Lusudaya. Giridhari Gopinatha Malana Mohana. Chaitanya Charitamrita
Maharaj Shri Guru Varma Sundar Radhagiri Haraju Ki
Jai.
Jam Shnupaj Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jam Shnupaj Bhakti Rakshidha Dev-Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jam Vishnupad Bhagavan Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Srila Guru Vaga Ki Jai. Namaskar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Nansakosi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Jai Granth Rashma Bhagavatam Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Jai Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Jai. Jai Srila Jai Shrimati Vishnu Priya Devi Ki Jai. Tadi Avibhav Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. Jai Srila Pundarik Vijayanavi Prabhu Avibhav Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. Jai Srila Raghunandan Thakur Tadi Avibhav Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. Jai Sri Raghunath Das Goswami Tadi Avibhav Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. Jai Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Prabhu Jai Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Prabhu Tadi Avibhav Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. Jai Chaitanya Swami Srimad Bhakti Vivek Bharati Maharaj Tadi Avibhav Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. Jai Chaitanya Swami Shripad Bhakti Swarup Prabhat Maharaj Tadi Avibhav Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. Jai Sri Saraswati Puja Mahamahotsav Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gopra Vinande.